So thinking about the spellings, thinking about the tenses that we've had in our two lessons so far. Okay. So the first lesson of just the nouns that we had and then putting them into a sentence, and then the second lesson where we had the past tense, and then obviously this evening we'll be looking at the future. Okay, presque 30 secondes, 30 seconds left. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, right, so we'll have a look. Nous allons faire maintenant des réponses. So let's have a look at the answers and see how we managed to do with that activity. So with the words linked with A, we have des frites, which are chips, des légumes, vegetables, du poulet, chicken, des œufs, eggs, and des fraises, strawberries. So the odd one out for that list of words is du poulet, and the reason why is because the other words are plural, and how we know that is because they have des in front of them as their partitive article, so therefore that's the word for some. But also we can see that they have an S on the end, okay, which indicates the fact that we need to be using des in front of them. Du goes with any of the nouns that we know that are masculine, okay, so anything that's le, therefore we need to be using du. And then thinking and reminding ourselves of that first lesson, de la would be what would go in front of words that are feminine, okay. So on continue avec B, let's continue with B. So we have du chocolat chaud, du thé, de l'eau, du café, des crêpes. Okay, and the odd one out is des crêpes. The reason why is because we have hot chocolate, tea, water, coffee, and so therefore pancakes is the odd one out, and that's obviously something that we eat, not something that we drink. Okay, si on a sain, dégoûtant, savoureux, délicieux, bon, and génial. So when we're thinking about those words, we know that they are adjectives, so we use them to describe our opinion on food and drink. And the odd one out would be dégoûtant. The reason why is because it's the only one that denotes a negative opinion. So we have sain for healthy, dégoûtant for disgusting, savoureux for tasty, délicieux for delicious, bon, and génial. Now these are two new adjectives to add to our list, which is fantastic. So we have bon, which is good, really. Okay, good, and génial, which is great. Et finalement, we have dit, so therefore hier, parfois, d'habitude, en semaine, and normalement. So thinking about those time frames and what they particularly link with, and our odd one out for this one would be hier, which means yesterday. Okay, so that was something we covered in lesson 2. So we have hier for yesterday, parfois for sometimes, d'habitude for usually, en semaine during the week, normalement for normally. Okay, and then if you manage to get onto the challenge activity, brilliant. This will be a little bit of a revision on how the past tense works, so therefore if you need to make notes on this, absolutely go for it. So last night we ate chicken and chips. It was great. So we have hier soir for last night. Okay, now the structure of the past tense it really kind of comes from the next 3 words that you can see on the screen. So nous avons mangé, we ate. If we want to say I ate, it's J apostrophe AI, okay, and then manger spelt exactly how it is on that screen. Okay, if we're saying he or she ate, it would be il, I-L, or elle, E-L-L-E, and then a, and then manger spelt exactly the same as it is on the screen as well. So that's talking about eating things in the past tense. So therefore now let's talk about drinking. So therefore we have nous avons, if we wanted to say we, and then we wouldn't use boire because that means to drink, so therefore we would use bu, which is spelt B-U, so therefore I drank would be J apostrophe A-I and bu, so j'ai bu. And then we also have obviously il or elle, a, bu as well. Okay. And then obviously nous avons bu for we drank. Okay. Right, so nous avons mangé du poulet et des frites. C'était is our word for it was. Okay, thinking about how we say it is in French, it's c'est, C apostrophe E-S-T. Okay, right, so on continue avec le futur. So we'll continue with the future tense today, look at some other language to link with the topic, and then hopefully put everything together in the last part of the lesson. So, bon courage, good luck. So, premièrement, on va discuter les quantités. So first of all, we will look at the quantities, okay? So rather than always saying, you know, I drank tea or I like to drink tea, we'll look at maybe putting things in like, I like to drink a cup of tea, okay? So on the screen in front of you, you have on the left-hand side, a list of words in French, okay? So une tranche de, un sac de, un pot de, un paquet de, un morceau de, un verre de, une tasse de, une bouteille de, une boîte de. Okay, now on the right hand side are some English translations, however they are not in the correct order. Okay, so for example, a packet of is definitely not in French un pot de. So je vais vous donner, I will give you presque une minute, so almost 1 minute, to think about what you think is the accurate translation for each of those words. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Right, so some cognates, we mentioned this in lesson 1, those words that sound or look similar to the English translations. We could say un paquet de, looks quite similar to a packet of, so therefore that would be the correct translation. Un sac de literally sounds like a sack of, okay, and that's a bag of. Une bouteille de is a bottle of, okay? So if I now show you the English translations, and I will go through the French pronunciation with you again. So, une tranche de, un sac de, un pot de, un paquet de, un morceau de, un verre de, une tasse de, une bouteille de, une boîte de. Okay, and you have the English translations next to those words now in the correct order. So if you'd like to take a screenshot of this or make any notes, that's absolutely fine. So how do these words work with what we've been talking about in terms of our items of food and drink? Quite simply, if we were to say, for example, some cheese, okay, we know that it's fromage, which is cheese, okay, and we know that the word in front of it is le. So therefore, we don't want to use le, okay. We know that we would be using the partitive article if we were saying some, but we wouldn't say, I like to eat a slice of some cheese. We just literally say, I like to eat a slice of cheese. So therefore, you don't need any word in front of fromage. So therefore, how this would work is you would just say une tranche de fromage. Okay, so for example, I like to eat a slice of cheese would be j'aime manger une tranche de fromage. Okay, I like to eat a slice of ham. J'aime manger une tranche de jambon. And hopefully on the screen now, you can see some examples that are there for you. Okay, so we have une tranche de fromage and then un morceau de gâteau, so a piece of cake. Okay, so for example, I avoid eating a piece of cake. J'évite de manger un morceau de gâteau. Right, so a few words here that may be interesting or may be of use when you're wanting to describe what you eat for different meals, okay? So the word for meal in French is repas, which is spelled R-E-P-A-S. So if you wanted to say to me, in the evening, I like to eat a slice of cheese, it would be le soir, j'aime manger une tranche de fromage. Okay, so I'll just go through the pronunciation of these words highlighted in green for you. So, le soir, le matin, pour, le dîner, le petit déjeuner, le déjeuner, goûter, and grignoter. So both of those mean like to snack, okay? So to snack in between meals. So therefore, have a think about maybe how we would say, in the morning, I like to eat a packet of crisps, okay? So in the morning, I like to eat a packet of crisps. And that sentence should sound like this. Le matin, j'aime manger un paquet de chips. Okay. Right, so on continue, let's continue. Now, some more useful vocabulary, thinking about maybe ordering something or buying something in a shop in France or in a French-speaking country. So therefore, usually, people may say, I would like, however, the common kind of term really to use when you're in a restaurant is je prends, okay? So for example, je prends une tasse de thé, s'il vous plaît. I'm taking a cup of tea, please. You could, if you wanted to, say j'aimerais or je voudrais. You could also say je veux. That's probably a little bit impoli, a little bit impolite. However, it's just really there to kind of to show you the language. So we know that to make a negative, or we can see on the screen, to make a negative, we need to add a ne and a pas around our verb, okay? So therefore you can see you've got je veux. Veux there is the verb, okay? And so therefore the ne comes in front of the verb, and then it is afterwards it's followed with pas. A bit like when we use, for example, I like and I don't like. We have j'aime for I like, and then we have je n'aime pas for I don't like. So when you write it out or you see it written down, you will notice that n'aime is N apostrophe A-I-M-E. If you get rid of the apostrophe and put an E in between the E and between the N and the A, that's technically how it should be. However, because of the fact that you cannot have two vowels together, that's why you get rid of the E and you replace it with the apostrophe. Okay, you don't say je ne aime pas, you link it all together. So therefore it's je n'aime pas. Okay, so therefore I am not taking would be je ne prends pas. I wouldn't like would be je n'aimerais pas. Or the other way of saying I wouldn't like would be je ne voudrais pas. Okay? Right, so on continue, a little bit of time really to give you a chance to apply what we've just been talking about. So, comment dit-on en français? How do we say in French? A packet of biscuits, a jar of jam, a slice of ham, a cup of tea. I try to avoid snacking. I must drink a bottle of water. I like to eat a piece of cake. Yesterday morning, I drank a cup of coffee. Okay, vous avez 4 minutes, 4 minutes, okay, pour faire cet exercice. Vous avez 3 minutes, 3 minutes left. Okay, so just remember no partitive article is needed in front of those nouns. So quite simply, a packet of biscuits, un paquet de biscuits. Okay. Vous avez 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute left. If you're somebody who's thinking that you may have finished, brilliant. It may be a good idea to take a screenshot of the information in front of you, just so that when you're learning things and consolidating that learning, that you can make sure that you're using Quizlet and inputting that language to revise. Okay. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, maintenant nous allons faire des réponses. So let's have a look at our answers. So a packet of biscuits, un paquet de biscuits. Okay, a jar of jam, un pot de confiture. A slice of ham, une tranche de jambon. A cup of tea, une tasse de thé. I try to avoid snacking. Right, this is a little bit more complex, this one. So we know that I try to is j'essaie de. Okay, so that's a DE. We know that avoid, okay, we know how to say I avoid. Eviter, E with an accent, VITER is to avoid. So therefore, what we need to do, a bit like what we were talking about with the n'aime pas, je n'aime pas, we need to get rid of the E on de, replace it with an apostrophe. So therefore, it needs to be j'essaie d'éviter, and then we can either use goûter or grignoter, depending. Okay, it doesn't matter really. So therefore, I try to avoid snacking. J'essaie d'apostrophe éviter, and then goûter or grignoter. That's quite difficult, that one, okay? I must drink a bottle of water. So this is really looking back at that first lesson. So I must is je dois, D-O-I-S, and then boire. And then, so je dois boire une bouteille. And then we know that water is eau, okay, so E-A-U, and we can see that it's une bouteille de, so therefore the same kind of thing thinking about here. So therefore, je dois boire une bouteille de eau. However, we can't have those two vowels together, so we take off the E off the de, okay, and we replace it with an apostrophe. I like to eat a piece of cake. J'aime manger un morceau de gâteau. And yesterday morning, I drank a cup of coffee. So that's thinking about lesson 2 and our past tense. So therefore, our sentence should read hier matin, which is yesterday morning. If we want to say last night, it's hier soir, S-O-I-R. And then j'ai, J apostrophe A-I, bu, which is I drank, and then une tasse de café. Okay. Superb, excellent. Right, okay, so now we're getting down to a little bit of grammar really. So the future tense, this is really quite important to make notes on. I'm sure you're kind of scribbling away at the moment, which is absolutely brilliant. Just listen for the moment as to whilst I talk you through it, and then things should make a little bit more sense, okay? Right, so the future tense, let's just clarify this in our head as to how, how this works in English. So this is something that we're going to do, okay? So tomorrow I am going to watch a film. Tomorrow we are going to play tennis, yeah? So it's something that's going to happen. Now, I'm going to introduce to you a new verb in French, which is quite exciting actually, aller, which means to go, okay? And that's appeared on the screen in front of you. So aller, to go, plus your verb. Now, we cannot just use aller on its own. We need to make sure that we conjugate it. Now, that's quite a fancy term when learning a language. It basically means that we have to make it relevant to the pronoun, okay? And the pronoun is I, you, he, she, we, they, okay? And hopefully when you see the screen, everything will now begin to make a bit of sense. So we cannot say je allais, okay, because that means I to go, and it doesn't make sense. So therefore, I am going is je vais. Il or elle va is he or she is going. Nous allons is we are going. Il and elles vont is they are going. And then you use your verb with it. So we just use our verb in the infinitive form. So remember in the first lesson, we were talking about infinitives and them being the full version of the verb. So therefore, I am going to drink would quite simply be je vais boire. Okay, she is going to eat would be elle va manger. We are going to play will be nous allons and then jouer. I've added extra infinitives there that link with other topics because I thought it might be interesting for you to see some others that we could maybe work with in French, okay? Especially if you kind of want to continue and do some more. So therefore we have jouer, which means to play, faire, which means to do, regarder, which means to watch, préparer, which means to prepare or to make. So if we're thinking about our sentence, okay, and describing what we eat, so I am going to eat vegetables, it would be je vais manger des légumes. We may, if we wanted to make our sentence far more complex, want to add some time frames. So they have now appeared on the screen in front of you. So we have demain, which means tomorrow, si j'ai le temps, if I have time, à l'avenir, in the future. Just be careful with the spelling of this word avenir, okay? There is a tendency to write A-N-V-E-N-I-R, so avenir. So just be careful that you're accurate with that spelling. So à l'avenir. La semaine prochaine, demain soir, le mois prochain. So another little grammar tip for you is that obviously we had this in lesson 2 with last, is the fact that we have prochain. When it's with week, it's spelled differently to when it's with month. And the reason why is because semaine, which is week, is feminine. And the reason that we know that is because it's preceded with la, okay? So therefore we need to add an extra E onto the end of prochaine. Le mois prochain, month is masculine, and we know that because it's le in front of it, and so therefore we don't need an E on the end of prochain, okay? So demain, si j'ai le temps, à l'avenir, la semaine prochaine, demain soir, le mois prochain, okay? You can probably work out how to say tomorrow morning actually as well. And that would be demain matin, so M-A-T-I-N. Right, okay, so we know how to add an opinion in the present tense, it's say. We know how to add an opinion in the past tense, which is c'était, so C'-E-T-A-I-T. And then in the future tense, we will have ce sera, meaning it will be. Okay, so thinking about applying this into a sentence, having a go with what you can see with the sentences in front of you. Okay, you have 4 minutes. Vous avez 4 minutes. Allez. Okay, je vais vous donner 1 minute, 1 minute left. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, right, so let's have a look at our answers. So, I am going to eat a slice of bread. Je vais manger une tranche de pain. Okay, he is going to drink a cup of tea. Il va boire une tasse de thé. We are going to eat a piece of cake. Nous allons manger un morceau de gâteau. And then tomorrow we are going to drink a glass of champagne, should be demain. Nous allons boire un verre de champagne. Okay? Right, so the final activity for this lesson is thinking about everything so far from lesson 1, 2, and 3. So the first activity, fill in the partitive article, so the word for some. We can think about the plurals, the words that end in S, and work out the kind of the logical way of what the partitive article will be. We know they're plural, so therefore we know that it has to be one option, okay? Then for activity number 2, choose the correct word and translate the sentences, okay? So you have 2 options. However, I would definitely recommend for you to look at the rest of the sentence, think about what it means, what tense is it in maybe, and then use that to form your judgment. Activity number 3, so qu'est-ce qu'il manque, what's missing? So using the words highlighted in green below to think about what needs to go in the spaces. And then finally, activity number 4, translating the phrases into French. Okay. Je vais vous donner 5 minutes. If you think you may need a little bit longer than 5 minutes and you don't want to hear the answers, I'm more than happy for you to pause it if you would like to, so that you can, you know, have a little bit extra time to go through the activities. That's no problem at all. Vous avez 2 minutes, 2 minutes left. Okay, encore 30 seconds, 30 seconds left. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, right. So filling in the participial article for activity number 1. So we should have du café, de la confiture, des crêpes. We haven't had raisin. Don't fall into the trap of what it looks as if it could be. It's not that. So it's des and raisin, and that's grapes. Okay, des champignons for mushrooms, du chocolat, du fromage, de la viande, des frites, du thé, de, so de, and then l'eau, and du pain. Okay. Number 2, choose the correct word and translate the sentences. So 2A. If we look at these words, we have d'habitude, which is usually, and hier, which is yesterday. So therefore, we can see that we have il a bu du café, and that's the past tense. He drank coffee. So therefore, it needs to be hier as our option. Okay, moving on to 2b, we have demain, which is tomorrow, and parfois, which is sometimes. And the rest of the sentence is I like to eat chips. So therefore, it needs to be parfois for sometimes. C needs to be nous avons mangé un œuf poché. We ate a poached egg. And D, I must drink water because it is healthy. So je dois boire de l'eau car c'est sain. 3A, hier, j'ai bu, du chocolat chaud et c'était malsain. B, d'habitude, je n'aime pas manger du fromage. C, needs to be demain, nous allons préparer un gâteau au citron. D, needs to be pour le petit déjeuner, j'aime manger des céréales. And E needs to be hier soir, il a bu une tasse de lait, mais j'ai bu un verre de jus d'orange. Okay. The translation I will go through in lesson 4 tomorrow, just in case you would like a little bit of time to finish those off. Okay, very well done for your work this evening. Bravo, and à demain. See you tomorrow. Very well done. Au revoir.